Hey everyone, it's Moonkin FTW and welcome back to another coaster build video. And in this video we're going to make an Intamin Blitz roller coaster. That sounds very cool, but basically what it is, so Intamin is a roller coaster design company, if you will, a roller coaster manufacturer. And they have different categories. They have accelerators, they have, of course have like things like mega coasters and hyper coasters. But a Blitz coaster is basically a roller coaster that's very fast, inversions, usually shorter trains, high speed, quick transitions, switchbacks, stangle dives. So yeah, basically they're very intense, very fast, and very adrenaline pumping with, of course, a few inversions here and there. So I'm gonna try and make that. So here we're already starting off right away with the design, and the beginning of the track is kind of inspired by Maverick, which goes up and it drops down. This one is 90 degrees, but I think Maverick even goes beyond 90 degrees, I'm not sure. But anyway, then it goes in this very quick 90-degree turn, and then it goes into kind of an airtime hill. It turns around, then a nice overbank turn on high speed. Then we have another kind of a bunny hop or camelback, and then it turns into this really cool zero-G roll because I wanted to have at least one inversion. And then into some quick turns into a helix. And I thought to myself, I'm going to make this back to the station, so I figured another helix, and then there's enough room for a brake run. So yeah, in terms of layout, I actually didn't take a lot of time to figure this out. I was pretty quick to figure it out. Usually it takes a bit longer, but sometimes you're lucky. So here I'm just very quickly checking out to see if the pacing is alright, and if it isn't, then I can always change the speed of the lift hill. Maybe I enable the low friction mode, which makes sure that the trains lose less friction. But so far it looks pretty darn good. So from here now we can start with customizing the roller coaster. And that of course starts with killing the standard supports, because we're going to use some custom supports. And now I'm also going to make an exit here, so that goes underneath the track, and then we have the queue here. So really what I like to do nowadays, which is also very realistic, is that the guests enter the train on one side and the guests exit the train on the other side. So just the way you see it like this. So now we got kind of the layout sorted out with the pathing. I'm going to use some of my pre-made designs in Moby Steel Jungle, but this time I'm going for blue track and yellow supports. So the pre-made supports that I've made have to be adjusted where everything's yellow, which takes very little time. I just have to repaint them and then save them again, overwrite the existing file, and that's pretty much it. So from here on out we can start copy pasting or putting down these pre-made supports that I have, and you'll notice throughout the video that this saves a lot of time, because if you would place all these individual pieces, you'd be here for hours and hours and hours. And I checked the footage. In total, this design owes me about 2.5 hours, which is not bad considering it's a fully custom ride with lots of custom supports and everything. So I also have some designs pre-made for the 90-degree turns. They didn't quite fit, so I'm just going to again overwrite them and make sure that they fit. And from there on out, I can copy paste them all over the track, and you can see just how many times I can use this same kind of structure or support, if you will. So that looks really nice. Again, this is also for the 90-degree banked turns, but this is of course when it's straight, not diagonal. And again, I can use this multiple times, so you can just see how much time this saves you if you were to use this copy paste feature, which I highly recommend anyone that uses these custom supports with Moby Steel Jungle to do, because it just saves so much time. So we're just going through the entire ride, and I do have to make a few adjustments. So for instance, this helix here, the supports are of course a bit higher, so I'm going to have to change an existing design that I have and just kind of alter them. But honestly, it did not take much time. What did take much time is fine-tuning these pre-made supports. So all these pre-made supports, or most of them that I've made before, weren't as detailed as I liked them to be. So they didn't have flanges. So I'm going to add all of them individually, which yes, took a lot of time. But off screen, I realized, oh my god, this took so much time. So I actually changed all the pre-made designs again to have flanges. So next time I build a roller coaster, it should have all these included. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to keep on going. And yeah, make sure that we don't miss any place where there aren't supports. So when it comes to where the track is straight, I'm just going to place one single beam. There's not much sideways stress or horizontal G's there. So here we have a nice little support in the middle for the overbank turn that kind of supports it properly, if you will. Just trying to figure out here how I want it to be placed, but there you go, that kind of works. It's, you know, not perfect, but doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I'm gonna support this camelback or this bunny hop here, you know, and you're gonna see in the footage that this actually creates some pretty crazy airtime. And here we're going to support the 0G roll. I'm gonna use the two outer parts, if you will, and then I'm gonna also use a sideways beam because, you know, with the 0G roll you have a lot of horizontal G-forces, so one simple support won't cut it. If I'm, you know, in my humble opinion, I'm not a mechanical engineer. If I was, I'd probably be a roller coaster designer, which I'm not. I'm an accountant. Maybe one of these days I might actually make a career switch to roller coaster designing, but you know, for now I'm actually fine with being an accountant and having this as a, you know, like a part-time hobby or whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to use these pre-made designs to see where else they fit, and we're actually almost done when it comes to the you know, the general layout of the supports. And I actually really like the way this color scheme looks. I'm not a huge fan of this blue color. I wish it was just a little bit lighter. But you know, with blue with these lights, with these yellow supports, I actually think it looks really, really nice. So I'm very happy with that. And yeah, we're just finishing this up, making sure that these bank turns have some sideways supports as well. Because again, you know, that if there's turns, I also want them to be supported. So here we're just going to use some caps to finish off so the track properly touches the supports and vice versa. And yeah, we're just going to put some final details, and we're actually getting quite close to finishing off the supports. So here I'm just going to go over each and every single support, and this is what actually took a fair bit of time, which is adding all the flanges in, which again is a bit of a mundane task, but it, you know, that it's all the details, if you will. And especially if you're riding the POV, you're really up close to these supports that, you know, if you don't do any details, you're gonna notice it. At least I notice it when I'm riding a roller coaster in RCT3 that I've made, and I see that I've kind of cut corners somewhere. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I don't like the look of it. So yeah, I'm gonna take some extra time to add all these flanges, but it's gonna just look so much better than it would look before. So that's pretty much what I'm doing now. I'm just adding vertical flanges where it's necessary, horizontal flanges where it's necessary, and of course we're going to use some flanges where there are angles. So for instance, that support for the overbank turn, these supports for the 0G roll, and you know, we're just going to go over the roller coaster like that. So this roller coaster, like I said, does owe me a fair bit of time, 2.5 hours. But it's not that bad, and I think mainly it's because I'm using those pre-made designs. It saves me a ton of time, because before, when I was doing this, when I was 18 years old in 2008, when I was originally playing RCT3, I didn't use this feature at all. I didn't even know you could do this, so I just made all these supports individually, and it took a ridiculous amount of time. So yeah, I grew older, got a bit smarter, and I figured there's got to be a better way, and there was. So I used that pre-made design feature. So we're going to use all these footers to make sure that all the supports have footers, because of course that's the finishing touch. And yeah, I think it looks absolutely amazing. Again, I'm really happy with the way this color scheme turned out. And again, if I'm not a fan of the blue track, I can always change it. So we're gonna go ahead and make the station. We're gonna add some custom brakes with a coaster goodies, I believe this add-on is called. And I'm also going to make a bit of a gathering area or a lookout area right there. Gonna match the cue to the color scheme of the track. And now we're gonna start with the catwalk. So I want a catwalk for the chain lift, which, you know, it's not really a chain lift. It should be the same with Maverick, which is I think a LSMs or something like that. Like it's kind of a launch, but you can't really replicate that well in RCT3. So I'm just using a chain lift. So here I had the idea of making a little bit of a small lake, if you will, or a pond. And I thought that would really look cool. And another thing I'm going to do, which you'll see in a bit, is also add some foliage there. But first, we're going to build the station. I'm going to use Woden's girders and glass, a favorite of mine. Doesn't take much time to make, and I think it looks really, really cool. So it's an add-on mod I can definitely recommend you guys to check out. So for the queue, I'm going to use JCat Steelworks to place these wooden poles, and this means I can actually place some supports inside of the queue, which you can do with stock scenery, so that's a big plus. I'm going to use Beastie's path covers here to make the pathing look a bit more realistic, because with this add-on you can make diagonal pathing, which you'll see in just a bit. You can also make these nice rounded paths, as you can see right here, those edges, to make things look a bit more smooth, if you will. So first I'm going to place all these blocks, if you will, and then the diagonal piece, and as you can see, there you go. Now you have diagonal pathing, so that looks really cool. The centerpiece, of course, like the gathering area around the roller coaster, I always like to make some foliage there, so that looks pretty good. So next up, we're going to place some fencing to make sure that the guests, figuratively cannot walk up to the ride and just, get hit by a roller coaster train or something like that. Gotta have that, of course, if you want to make things look a bit realistic. I'm not going to put fencing around the entire area because, I'm not going to put pathing around the entire roller coaster. For now, this is good enough. Now for the lake, I actually wanted to experiment with a few rocks here and there. Now there is a mod called Shy Guy's Rock Set, but I can't find it for the life of me. I can't find a download link, so I'm kind of just stuck using the stock rocks from RCT3, which are not bad, but they could be better. And I'm adding some bushes for some foliage, and there you go. I think that looks pretty good. So last but not least, we're gonna have to place, of course, some trees because it looks a bit still. I'm not going to place trees under the entire map because, I've said it before, but if you place a lot of objects in the map, the frame rate will absolutely tank, regardless if you have a good PC. So I'm just going to put trees around the roller coaster and then call it a day. Generally, what I like to use is large oaks with these large Douglas firs, just a small variety of trees, but I think it works perfectly fine. So this is pretty much the final the final piece, the final puzzle piece, if you will, to making this Intamin Blitz roller coaster. I'm really happy how it turned out. And yeah, I think we are pretty much done. Oh yeah, last but not least, I'm going to make some benches, where the guests can chill and everything. And a few last additions. And of course, some fences here on the station. And yeah, that's it. That is our Intamin Blitz roller coaster. So I think I did a pretty good job. It has the check marks of a Blitz roller coaster, so it's fast. It has quick switchbacks, so quick transitions into these back turns. It has an inversion, high speed, high adrenaline. I think it looks pretty darn cool. So yeah, really happy with the way this turned out. And as always, some B footage is coming up and the POV. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy this Intamin Blitz roller coaster. And there you go, guys. That was the Intamin Blitz roller coaster I made. Hope you enjoyed the POV. Hope you enjoyed how it turned out. I am personally pretty proud of how it looks. I think it looks awesome, and I think the ride is really cool. So yeah, that's it for this video. As always, thank you very much for watching this. I'll be back with probably a new coaster build very soon. And until then, have yourself a wonderful day.